Hello everyone, welcome back. We left off with a nice looking table and we have it running from our server instead. I want to do a little bit more work with some stuff in the table before we move on. I actually want to make these have specific colors based on the typing and also give it a nice little, a better look essentially. And so what I did is I looked up the colors. Someone made a color chart out of hexadecimal colors. And then I went over to ChatGPT. This is a really good use of ChatGPT, by the way. Just saves you from doing some tedious work. And I basically had it write out those colors that I pasted in the form of CSS with type dash and then the type there. So I have all the CSS here, and then the text, the background color will be whatever the color is, and the text color will be white or black depending on which one looks better against that color. So I'm going to grab all this CSS out. Thank you, ChatGPT. And we're going to create a new folder for our styles. Sometimes people call this CSS, sometimes they call it styles. I'm okay either way. And we're going to make a specific style sheet for our table. So it's going to be my table.css. And then I'll paste all of that styling in here, all those styles that we have. And then we have to figure out how to apply those. And there's a little bit of a challenge for that. Let's go over to our table, my table. And here we have the types. And right now we're kind of breaking it into strings here, which is fine. But what I actually would like to do is, instead of doing it that way, I want to return some HTML code instead of returning an output string. So what I'll do is I'm going to create instead of output string, we're going to have output spans, and it's going to equal an empty array here. And we're going to take this out because it's not going to be returning that type anymore. It's going to be returning a react node type, which is, I think, let's see if I can do that. Node, react node, like that. I think so. And it's going to actually be this type. And we're returning that as well. Okay. So now inside of here, capitalizing the word is fine. So instead of output string, I'm going to set this to a const text equals this. So our text part looks like this. Our class is going to be, let's see, const class name will equal, it's going to be type plus the input I. So this is going to be grass or fire or poison or whatever. And the name of the class looks like this. It's type dash whatever the type is. So we have to create a string combining those two things together, and we'll use that template literals is what they're called. It's sort of, if you've ever worked with Python, they call it text formatting, but essentially it's just a way of putting variables into a string without just doing plus, which is very tedious. It gives you a better idea. So it's going to be type dash, and then this is where we inject our variable, and it's just going to be input I. So that's our class name. That's our text. So we can say output spans dot push, and we're going to push a span onto here. And I'm trying to think, because I'm not actually sure if this is going to work exactly how I want with these. I think it will. I think it'll handle the array of React nodes correctly. But if it doesn't, we're going to have to work around it. So what we're going to push on here is spans, and then the class name will equal class name. And inside of here will be our text. Okay, and we can get rid of this stuff now. So we're not going to have commas anymore, and we'll be returning output spans instead. So now up here, if I did that right, in our types, we should, instead of calling this function Well, we just need to change the name of it. Oh, I actually need this function to be the same as it was before because I'm using it for both abilities as well. And I'm not going to be doing color coding on abilities. So I need to revert it back to how it was. Let's revert it back. Whoopsies. Okay. And then this was if I is less than input length minus 1, then we will output string plus equal comma space, and then this was output string plus equals this. Okay, there we go. And then this will be called get types. Get Pokemon types. There we go. Okay. So we'll do this for types. And this isn't going to work exactly. Oh, it did. Did I already import it? Oh, I didn't even import the. Why is that working? Oh, wow. I didn't even import the mytable.css. How's that working? That's pretty impressive. I'm looking to see where that is. That's so weird that that's actually. I thought I had to import it, but apparently I don't. Did it automatically look in my styles? That is bizarre. That's pretty cool though. Let me just test this, make sure that it's, make sure it's actually doing what I want. Oh, maybe it's not. Let me try refreshing here. Okay. So I had been working on this before, but I don't know why the CSS was maintained there. That's really interesting. But I do need to import my CSS. That's what's missing now. So cards on the table, I was testing this, and I think in testing, somehow it cached the previous CSS. That's fine. So we'll go /styles, styles and my table.css, and this should import the CSS into here. And now it is actually what it should be, looking like this. Now it's not exactly how I want it to be yet. I want there to be a little bit of space between these guys, and I want the corners to be rounded and a little bit of padding. So I'm going to add another thing to our types here. So I'm just going to have it called .type, and then what I'll do is padding will be maybe 3 pixels, margin will be 2 pixels. These need to be semicolons, and border radius should be maybe 3 pixels. So this will give rounded corners. It'll give a little bit of buffer space around here, but I need to add that to the class name. So the way class names work with HTML, if you're unfamiliar, is we can actually add, we can add multiple class names here. So we have our one class name, but we can add another class name in front as well. So we'll add type, and then a space, and then I think we can just do that. Nope. So we're gonna have to do template literals here again inside of. Oh, we can just do it here. So let's add type and then space type. Yeah, that should work. There we go. And we see we got some rounding on the corners. We got that little bit of space. I want to make a little bit more padding there. Let's make it a little bit nicer. So I'm gonna add just maybe 5 pixels of padding, and I want the corners to actually be more rounded. I want the corners to be rounded as much as the padding potentially, or maybe even more. Let's try 10px. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. Now we're getting there. Let's give a little bit more margin. There we go. So it just looks way better. And the concept is we're actually going to make these clickable. And once I click those, I'm going to make it so it filters by that type. So I can click one of these, and then it's going to add that to the top here, and then it's going to filter by that type. So that'll be the next goal, is we're going to add type filters so that I can click on these and filter by that type. So that'll be the next one.